achieving impressive results under the objective of eradicating all types of violence against women and girls by the year 2030. It stands as the largest concerted effort globally to put an end to every form of violence inflicted upon women and girls.
The Spotlight Initiative brought a holistic approach to the fight against gender-based violence and violence against women.
In pursuit of the 2030 target, the Spotlight Initiative in Nigeria has formed collaborative partnerships with a range of implementing partners operating in Lagos,
Alhaji Rewanu Suleiman Adamu CFR, Emir of Bauchi, and the Chairman Bauchi State Council of Traditional Rulers. You're most welcome. Also arriving is His Royal Majesty Oba Ale Yeluwa Sahid Ademola Elegushi Kunsenla III. Elegushi of Elegushi Kingdom is the youngest king in Lagos State. Is a beacon of youthful energy properly positioned towards traditional issues. Shall we most welcome him, please? You're welcome.
Calabar, and Sokoto states.
We have disproportionately invested in female education and development. We have just been more intentional in also bringing in more women into that pool.
My organization, Whisker, has been privileged to be engaged by UN Women as a partner in the Spotlight Initiative.
Over the years, we have been intentional about developing women.
When it comes to balancing, we don't discriminate.
We are first inspired by women across the world who are doing great things.
We are set up basically to promote and protect the rights of women and young girls and to render practical support services.
Our objectives, working together with Spotlight, is we are anchoring the issue of male involvement.
There is conflict and whatever, so we used to enlighten people. This is the danger and effect of gender-based violence.
Together, they are delivering customized interventions and support to victims within these regions, aligning their efforts to combat gender-based violence and achieve their shared goals.
Bringing the Spotlight Initiative into the community has strengthened what we can do to assist those who are victims of violence in the community.
These partners include the Women at Risk International Foundation in Lagos State. WARIF has taken proactive measures to mitigate the impact of such concerning statistics. WARIF has strategically intervened in tertiary institutions, setting up comprehensive systems for both prevention and response to tackle the root cause
of His Eminence Alhaji Muhammad Sahad Abubakar III CFR, the Sultan of Sokoto, and the President General, Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, and the Chairman of the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria. He is a retired Minister General and an astute advocate of the rights of women and children in Nigeria. You most welcome His Eminence. Please, for those our special guests who arrived by air, please, we are told you should make time to make some documentation with the Secretariat. Thank you so much.
Causes of School-Related Gender-Based Violence, SRGBV.
The WARIF addresses this issue through a unique survivor-centered approach, where we provide essential services at sexual assault referral centers, such as the WARIF Rape Crisis Center in Yaba and the WARIF Satellite Clinic in Bagada.
In Sokoto State, and I work in the area of engaging the women group, building their capacity.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين. Your Royal Highnesses, distinguished guests here, I've been asked to perform the very hard task of paying tribute to a friend. When I've finished, I would exactly tell you the importance of the Kotla thing. His Royal Majesty, Oba Architect Barrister Aderemi or Adedapo Adin Dilaimori and Olujodu of Ido-Osun, a renowned, highly respected and revered leader, served as the paramount king of Ido-Osun, a town in Osun State, Nigeria. Until his transition, His Majesty served as the first Conveyor General of the Council of Traditional Leaders of Africa, COTLA. We'll be talking more about it during this meeting. His Majesty served as first Conveyor General of COTLA, a network of leaders concerned by the convened by the African Union and UN Women to drive transformation and eradication of negative cultural practices, customs, and traditions to end violence against women and girls. Known for his astute wisdom, leadership, and commitment to the welfare of his people, Oba Aderemi Adedapo played a crucial role in preserving the cultural heritage and traditions of the Osun community. As a custodian of tradition, he upheld the values of customs passed down through the generations, ensuring their continuity and relevance in modern times, particularly in relation to well-being of women and girls. In addition to the traditional duties, Oba Aderemi Adedapo actively promoted community development and progress in Ido-Osun. He was intentional about collaboration, leveraging his global reach to support engagement with local leaders and government. As a symbol of unity and authority, Oba Aderemi Adedapo gained admiration from the people of Ido-Osun and across the world. His legacy is characterized by a deep sense of duty, compassion, and dedication to the well-being of his community and indeed all of Africa. He leaves an indelible mark in the hearts of the people and women and girls in Africa. As traditional and faith leader, we acknowledge our significant role in preventing gender-based violence, GBV, and harmful practices in communities. Our vintage position can influence attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors towards gender norms and violence. As such, we are and can be powerful agents of change in presenting GBV and harmful practices. Our influence in communities should be used to promote positive gender norms, provide support to survivors of GBV, raise awareness about the harmful effects of GBV and harmful practices, and advocate laws and practices and policies that protect women and girls. His Royal Majesty, CG Conveyor General, Oba Architect Barrister Aderemi Adedapo Adin Dilaimori Olujodu, and of Ido-Osun Kingdom, Obani Ibaji. Thank you very much. Just as a word of passing, what is COTLA? Just quickly, it's a transnational organization that was formed. Unfortunately, it has not been merged into the National Council. So we have two indecision around here. But it is going to be eventually part of the main council and have a desk in the council under the Sultan, which I will explain more in course of this. But it's been doing a lot of work so far. Thank you very much for the audience. Once again, adieu.
Thank you so much. That was His Royal Highness Dr. Yahaya Haliru Danusa, OON, Emir of Shunga, Kwara State, Nigeria, and Deputy Convener General of COTLA. His Royal Majesty CG Oba Architect Barrister Aderemi Adedapo Adin Alemo and will surely be missed, and indeed shall please rise for a minute silence. May his gentle soul rest in peace, as we remain to give salute to the host country, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the national anthem.
Nations Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator in Nigeria, Mr. Mohammed Fall. Catherine Chinedum Anyogolu Okoye, Director, West Africa Ford Foundation. His Eminence, Alhaji Dr. Muhammad, the Sultan of Sokoto, and President General of the Nigerian Development Queen Mother of Afigia Kwake Ashanti Kingdom, representatives of traditional rulers and religious leaders from Niger Republic, Liberia, Ghana, and Sierra Leone. I want to specially recognize and welcome all executives and members of the traditional leaders and faith leaders who have come from across the West African sub-region. The UN Women Representative to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Ms. Beatrice Eyong. I see several heads of international organizations here present. Would like to recognize all of you, speakers, moderators of panels, distinguished participants, members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Akwaba, bienvenue. I welcome you to this all-important annual high-level gender-based violence prevention summit. My name is Eugenia Abu, multimedia strategy expert, broadcaster, and writer, and I shall be your guide. I'm not working alone today. I'm working with Omini Oden, corporate communications expert and anchor. Please give him a round of applause.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much.
Would like to speak to the issues that have brought us here today, this morning, with due respect to all our respected traditional rulers here and our faith-based leaders. The psychological trauma of VVF, the stigma, and the poor quality of life lived by most victims is a testimony to how the lives of young women can be altered and how their aspirations and contribution to national development can be stultified. Female genital mutilation, violence against women and girls in all ramifications, preventing them from attaining their full potential remains a worrisome issue across the West African sub-region. Speaking at a town hall meeting with women civil society groups in New York, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in March of 2022 said gender-based violence is an ongoing emergency in its own right. According to the World Health Organization, about 1 in 3 women worldwide has experienced either physical and/or sexual intimate partner violence or non-partner sexual violence in their lifetime. In Africa, harmful gender norms. I'd like to welcome and greet in our presence as he walks in His Imperial Majesty Oba Adeyeye Eniton Ogunwusi Ojaja III, OFR, Oni of Ife. CFR, you're welcome, sir. It's very good to see you. As I was saying, harmful traditional practices continue to resonate within our societies. And our custodians of culture, our custodians of faith, our traditional rulers are to assist us in stemming the tide. Enter our traditional and religious leaders, our esteemed custodians of culture and faith, whom we look up to for steering the ship of societies towards peaceful coexistence, stability, growth, protection, and better quality of life for all equally across genders. It is therefore my singular pleasure at this moment to say the reason we are gathered is to strengthen collaboration with traditional and religious leaders on ending gender-based violence. UN Women, in a Ford Foundation funded initiative, is implementing across a 3-year stretch this initiative. This, indeed, is why we are gathered. It's time now for us to give you a formal, official welcome. Omini, you've got the next item.
Yes, for her welcome remarks on this very important day. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, UN Women representative of the Nigerian ECOWAS and the Gambia of DAS, Emirate Council, Bauchi State, Ms. Beatrice Ayum. Shall we give her a applause for her welcome remarks? Please let's encourage her, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The Honorable Minister of Women's Affairs, Honorable Barrister Uju Kennedy, His Eminence Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, CFR, the Sultan of Sokoto, His Imperial Majesty Oba Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi Ojaja III, CFR, the Oni of Ife, Your Royal Highnesses, the President of Ford Foundation, Mr. Darren Walker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me stand on the already existing protocol. It is an honor and privilege to welcome you all to this first annual high-level gender-based violence prevention summit in Abuja. To our guests who are joining us from across the region and beyond, you are welcome to Nigeria. We are very honored to host the presence of our esteemed monarchs and the president of Ford Foundation. Before I start, I would really like to say it is with mixed feelings that UN Women continue to organize this summit. As all of us know, we lost the convener general of Kotla, with whom we have been working. I wish to transmit the condolences of our executive director, Dr. Sima Baous, to the family of our departed leader. In fact, we will not forget, we will continue this legacy that he has left for us, and he will be missed. I want to sincerely thank Ford Foundation for the ongoing partnership on the traditional and cultural leaders for ending GBV by advancing advocacy, policy, and social norms change in Nigeria and West Africa, in shifting harmful social norms that perpetuate gender-based violence, especially violence against women. At the root of violence against women and girls are social norms that make it acceptable and almost expected for violence to occur. Africa is a continent of about 54 countries and over 3,000 languages, representing a diverse and rich tapestry of culture that has prevailed for centuries. We are a proud continent, and our culture gives us our identity. However, like the rest of the world, we must be prepared to challenge those practices that deny our rights and dignities as human beings. Today, we are confronted with the harsh reality that gender-based violence is pervasive and deeply entrenched in our society. It is a violation of human rights, a barrier to development, and a threat to peace and security. It affects women and girls and even men of all ages, backgrounds, and walks of life, depriving them of their fundamental rights and freedoms. Globally, an estimated 736 million women, almost 1 in 3, have been subjected to physical and or sexual intimate partner violence. non-partner sexual violence, or both, at least once in their lifetime. Despite some progress in recent years, including increasing women's representation in leadership in some countries within the region, women and girls in West Africa are still disadvantaged based on their gender. You will hear later in the program a snapshot analysis on the extent of these disparities. But to give you a sense of what we contend with, West Africa has almost the highest rates globally for child marriage, as well as high prevalence of female genital mutilation. 60% of assault survivors whom the humanitarian actors assist in the region are seeking help because of violence committed by intimate partners. In West Africa, over 40% of women are victims of physical and/or sexual violence. These acts of abuse are so common that they tend to be normalized by women themselves. In one country, for instance, 34% of women believe that a husband has the right to beat his wife. What we recognize is the need for radical shifts in mindsets in order to truly end violence against women and girls. What this summit seeks to achieve by convening distinguished traditional and religious leaders from across Nigeria, Niger, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Ghana is to take stock of achievements made by leaders in their respective jurisdictions and facilitate a space for sharing of critical and inspiring insights. The big question in the room is, why should all of us put our energies to fight against gender-based violence? Gender-based violence is not just against our women and girls. It's against all of us. It's against our economic growth. It's against our stability. It's against our emergence as a continent that has all it takes to become real prosperous. I wish to recognize the work that our royal fathers in Nigeria have done in making their palaces safe spaces and driving education of the girl child. This is in line with the Maputo Protocol and the Africa 2063 agenda, the Africa we want. I commend the work of our leaders in Liberia and Sierra Leone in driving to end female genital mutilation, which affects over 200 million girls globally. Similarly, in Niger and Ghana, girl child education is taking increasing prominence thanks to the tireless efforts of our leaders. These examples are not extensive, but I just wanted to make a point to acknowledge that there is tremendous work being done by our traditional and our religious leaders. The summit will provide leaders with more tools to support their exemplary work in ending violence in their communities through the presentation of the regional accountability framework to support continuous monitor and hold traditional and faith leaders accountable for the commitments towards the elimination of GBV and harmful practices. I take this opportunity to sincerely appreciate our leaders present for their phenomenal insights through regional consultations which have led to the development of the accountability framework. And especially I will remember our leaders, our traditional and faith leaders in Nigeria, for taking two main actions. The first one was to identify the harmful practices in their communities that limit women's participation in development. That has been done and presented and validated. The other one is the decision of wanting to advocate for women's increased representation in leadership positions. This to us is a great mark that our traditional leaders and our faith leaders are committed to gender equality and women's empowerment. In a global context where women's rights, which are human rights, are being pushed back against, we draw strength in the knowledge that we have strong solidarity even within this very room to push back against the pushback. It is extremely necessary, especially with ongoings in the region. For example, the threat to repeal the law on FGM in the Gambia, as well as ongoing conflict which increases risk of violence to women and girls. Distinguished guests, we know with your commitments and support, we can create an Africa where women and girls live free from fear of violence and where our traditional and religious practices can be upheld and celebrated.
While we were talking, the woman was crying, the brother was crying. I broke down. And I was charged again. That spirit came on. And I said to the man, correct yourself or you kill me. Because I will not be able to sit down and see this happen. That's why I plead with you. I'm sorry. The women are suffering. The women are crying. They may not cry before you, but they cry to me. And when they cry to me, what do you expect me to do? I'm pleading because without the support of the traditional rulers, without the support of the religious leaders, the work I do has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with tradition or culture. The work I do is to protect the rights and save my women and children as much as I can. That's all I'm doing. I look at the law. If it doesn't match with the law, I step out to fight. Nobody loves to fight. I'm a peace-loving woman, but I don't run away from trouble. That's why I keep pleading. I need your help. The mobile court, I fought a great war to get the mobile court on. We are launching the first one next week, Thursday, by God's grace in FCT. Osun is ready. Anambra is ready. A few other states are ready. I promise I will get it across the states. And what are those things for? Some women go out there, they borrow babies, innocent babies that can't defend themselves. They borrow them, sometimes from crèche, sometimes from people that are lazy to do anything and bring up their kids. And they go out there under the sun with an innocent child, begging on the street. It has to stop. Some young girls hang around. They can't go to school. Some children, they can't go to school because their parents are not doing anything. It has to stop. But do I stop this without empowering the women? What would that make me? A monster. I have to first empower these women so that I can march and stand firmly and fight. And I'm doing that by His grace. I've done in 15 states. I'm yet to do more. I'm going to plead with Mr. President now to only assist me, even if to give me the machines while we organize. So many of you have given me a lot of good advices that are helping. They said, will you drop a machine without maintenance culture? If you do that, it will end up like every other story. I grabbed that. Each time I speak with each and every one of you, I learn a lesson and I push it into action immediately because I want this to succeed. It's only when it succeeds that I will liberate the women and girls and babies. There are so many things going out there. A woman's hand was cut off from the wrist, 2 of them, one in Igbo land, in Mbise, and one in the north. So it doesn't end in one particular place. That's why I keep saying it's not about religion. It's not about culture. It's about doing things right. It's about inhumanity to human. I don't know what makes black people to have very black hearts at times. I don't understand it. Because sometimes what they do to a fellow human being, you will be wondering, how could somebody do this to another person? If there are consequences. Trust me, so many cases that come to my office, immediately I open my eyes and tell the person, we've gotten to a bad point. Why do they retrieve immediately? Why do they stop it immediately? Why? Because they know I will take action. When you talk, you don't take action. Nothing happens. But can I do this alone? Who am I to even succeed if I don't have my fathers and the religious leaders backing me up? Who am I? I'm sure the kind of royal fathers we have now, they have a human face. I can stand up here and vouch for them because I've interacted with them. I've seen the kind of moves they are making to better the country. Some people will come and tell you, you see these Muslims, that this, that. Now lie. It's not about Muslim. And it's not about Christianity. I've met a lot of Muslims that are so kind. They understand life. They don't want certain bad things to happen. They want the best for their people. And likewise in my place, we have wicked people everywhere. It doesn't concentrate on one particular place. Just that we Nigerians, we don't remember we are Nigerians. I'm not Igbo, I'm not Christian, I'm not Muslim, I'm nothing but a Nigerian. That's all I am. So you look for my trouble, that is when you touch my women and children. That means you've looked for my trouble. You look for my trouble in the north, I come after you. You look for my trouble in the south, I come after you. Except you want to kill me, I will even bend down and put my head on your stomach. Kill me. It can't continue. Innocent people that are suffering. I am pleading, please, if I will have opportunity like this, if I'm allowed, I want to organize something like this for both religious leaders and royal fathers, so that we see how we will work together. It's only the three of us, three groups like this, that can get these things running well and working. My Sultan, Oni of Ife, Esu Nupe, I thank you so much. I had an issue with Niger State. I won't call it Niger State. I had an issue concerning 100 girls getting married. I'm not against the girls getting married. I got married. My daughter got married. Other people's daughters will get married. Everyone's prayer is for your daughter to grow up and get married. But that your daughter will not be underage. None of us will give out our daughters that are underaged. Now, and I'm not saying they're underaged, because a lot of white people, that's what they want to hear. But they will not hear it from me. All I said is I want to carry out investigation. I want to be sure they are not underaged. I want to be sure they run them tests for genotype, because it's me still that see a lot of sickle cell babies suffering out of a crime they have not committed. I want to be sure their spouses have something doing. If you marry them for a man that doesn't have anything doing, you're sending the girl to suicide. You want the girl to be killed. That is what I said that I wanted to find out. You can't just announce you're marrying out 100 girls. To whom? How? What are they doing for a living? What about their education? How do we forge from here to stop having liabilities and children that will be suffering up and down? Because that same thing can lead to that. And the Sunupe got involved. I'm sorry, sir. I have to say this. He called me, he organized for us to have a meeting and dialogue. And in the course of the dialogue, we agreed that my brothers today, the emir of Kontagora, we had a great meeting, and as we speak, we are partnering. Tomorrow, I will have opportunity to empower my girls. Tomorrow, I'll have opportunity to open accounts for them so that I'll make sure the government gives them what they are giving others. Not only them, all of them in that community. Tomorrow, I have opportunity to take 2 companies that will drill boreholes for them. Tomorrow, I have opportunity to give POS to some of them. I have opportunity to give them scholarship to university level for any of them that wants to go to school. Tomorrow, I'm giving them rice. I'm giving them wrappers. Nothing can be too much for my girls. Nothing. And I will do more. I've taken up that village as a responsibility. I'm going to look into their lives and know why. Why are they marrying them off? Because they're orphans. If our government, as they want to start doing the right thing, and we're doing the right thing, I don't think any sultan or emir or any of our royal fathers will support that. None supported this. None. They didn't. They are with me. Check. It's for the good of the children. It's not for myself. It's for our future. The babies that will come are the future of the country. Please, let me still ask for permission. Even if I will come to Sokoto, I will come to any part of the north to have this meeting with and partner with both religious leaders and the royal fathers on the issue of maltreatment on young girls, maltreatment on babies, and maltreatment on women. I'm not saying men are not maltreated sometimes, but if they maltreat you, come, I will fight for you. But it's usually the women that are the vulnerables. Thank you, everyone. I hope I've not bored you. God bless you all, my fathers and my brothers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Barrister Uju Kennedy Ohaneye. Shall we give a round of applause? Don't look for our trouble in the south and don't look for our trouble in the north. Or the beginning of the fear of the minister, the beginning of wisdom. Shall we give a round of applause, please? Thank you. May I, at this point, most respectfully, invite for his goodwill message on this very important day, His Eminence Alhaji Dr. Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, CFR, the Sultan of Sokoto and President General, Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs. His Eminence.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على النبي الكريم. The Honourable Minister for Women Affairs, not of Women Affairs, my friend, brother, the President of CAN. Of course, that includes the UN woman, because I heard that she's a princess, so she is part of the family. First and foremost, I want to be as brief as the minister's speech, because it was not written. Mine too is not written. But there are things the government brought up. And I believe all of you have been have been listening attentively to the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria through the Honorable Minister. When the minister said I should speak first, I said, no, you are the government. You are the owner of Nigeria. You're standing in for Mr. President, so go and speak. And exactly in our own little wisdom, we push the minister to speak first, so that we hear her comments, that if any need for us to explain or say one or two things about certain views, we will do so here before we leave the hall. There are other goodwill messages that will come The next one is my brother, my friend, my colleague, the Oni of Ife. And I know he's always been very blunt in whatever he says publicly. So before he comes on, I would like to also adopt all he said, all he's going to say. Because he's my brother and we're very close. We discuss a lot for the sake of Nigeria. We listened to the Honorable Minister patiently, and she brought up the last comment she made about the 100 girls marriage in Niger State. The minister had been so passionate about talking for women, girls, and children. As the Minister for Women Affairs, as the Chairman of the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria, as the President General of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, I will converse, I will talk, discuss, chat with my friends and colleagues to send a short memo to Mr. President to give us a Minister of Men Affairs. Because all she took time to say was on women, women, women. So men don't matter. So we want our own Ministry of Men Affairs. So, when you go to FEC and you hear such a comment, you know that it's coming from us. She made so many valid comments, so many comments that people think they are not right or they are controversial. Nothing is controversial in what we discuss. Dialogue is the best option in solving problems, no matter how deep you think the problems are. And she had benefited from that dialogue when she met the Emir of Kontagora, not Kotongora, as so many of my southwest and southeast friends will say. And I think that dialogue issue should have been the first thing to take up, because our phones are open 24 hours. We don't sleep. And once you get to us on any issue, we have a network that anytime I can get Oni of Ife, Etsunupe, Emir of Kanu, anybody. So we have learned a big lesson, and we'll continue to learn until we die. We are students, and we continue to learn till we die. The bottom line is, let's talk first before we act on certain things. I've had comments from so many ulama on Friday, khutbah, and so on and so forth, kicking against certain comments made by the government. Now, under this roof, you have religious leaders, Christians and Muslims, at the invitation of UN Women Ford Foundation. And if you can request us to come for such a meeting on such an important issue, and we all leave our places, our little homes, to come to the very big capital, Abuja, to be with you and listen and talk with you and discuss on issues affecting all of us, why don't you always see that opportunity of talking first before acting? We don't rush to take decisions on certain things that we are not sure of. Nigeria is a complex country. There are things that a normal Nigerian, an average Nigerian, will not take for granted by anybody. First, his religion, his culture, his tradition. These three things are no-go areas. But with understanding, with dialogue, you can bring forward issues that you can discuss passionately, peacefully, with respect and everything, and agree, and then go and implement. So I think every day we keep on learning. I've been in touch with our religious leaders since I came on this seat over 17 years ago, and we've been very close. Today I've seen some of them, and asking them, I don't see you till we call for meetings, but we talk on phone every time. And I follow what they say and what they do. And sometimes I call them, I make comments, and we exchange views. That's how we are always on the same page. So the event of Niger brought up another opportunity for people to speak their mind, to say things they want to say, without really knowing the truth, without really knowing the heart of the Minister for Women Affairs, because they are not the minister, they are not close to her. So I think we must always try to reach out to one another and talk to ourselves. What dialogues can solve wars or fighting can never solve them. So let's always talk first. Even wars are fought to keep peace. If you know you can have peace without fighting war, then why do you have to go and fight? I think these are issues that we keep on talking to ourselves. We're always ready to answer such calls. GBV issue had been there for centuries. It's not something that you can just eradicate overnight. The former wife of them, the former vice president's wife, sorry, she's still his wife, so let know somebody go and tell Osinbajo, I've separated them. The former vice president's wife was at a program we had at the villa on the same issue of GBV, where a professor, I forgot her name, I think from University of Ibadan or Ife, was commissioned to undertake a very deep study on these genital mutilations and whatever. And she went around the country, she put a very beautiful report, a very big book. Today, nobody's talking about that report and how to implement it. We are back to square one again, having a meeting by Ford Foundation, by Ministry for Women Affairs, and UN Women, discussing the same issues. Because at the end of this program, I bet you, we will leave this place, go back to our towns, cities, villages, homes, palaces, and whatever, have forgotten about whatever has been discussed here. Because we don't implement issues when we discuss and agree on such issues. So we'll call Honorable Minister, call meeting again of religious and traditional leaders who will be discussing the same thing. What do we need to discuss? What we must discuss is how do we really implement all these issues? No religion said you should go and mutilate people. In fact, Islam has high respect for women. That's truth. I have so many ulama here, and they start talking to you about women and in Islam, and they can take the whole day. They can start quoting from Quran, from the Hadith, and whatever. So people must not think that Islam agrees on all this violence against women. You are not allowed to even hit people. In fact, the women will like this. If you are so angry with your wife, you want to deal with her, you want to hit her, just find in a very soft way, just tap her like you are beating her. Say, don't do. Mama, you come back money. But don't carry koboko. Don't carry machete. Follow her and say you want to kill her because you are angry, because she annoyed you as your wife. No. So the issue is that how do we really use this forum of religious leaders to talk to ourselves? Well, Minister, I will give you free consultancy. Commission a little project, a little work with all the money you have in the Ministry for Women Affairs. Put the imams together. Let them give you a position paper on how to go about implementing some of these problems that we keep on facing every day. From the little money that you've given out, and then also use the CAN president. Let them talk, bring a paper too, then bring the two of them together. We have done that before on so many issues, and things worked. Because the fact that when what Islam says, Christianity is also saying the same thing in different ways. What a Hausa man says, maybe a Yoruba man is saying so, but in a different way, because of the language barrier and things like that. So let's see how we can really implement things that we have all discussed and agreed on, so that we don't keep on coming back talking about the same thing, repeating the same thing like broken record. Because that's what we are doing. Pick that report out at the presidency or in your ministries and whatever. It's a very voluminous book. I forgot the professor's name, who did the work. Bring it out. Get your people at the ministry to look at it. What can you then have it? What is the immediate way you will take? Intermediate, long term. So that before you finish your first term and start thinking of second term, you have done so much that everybody will come and say, look, would you come and be governor of which state? Anambra. You get work. Because of the good work you have done at the center, you're so passionate about development, about people being what they should be. When I was a younger officer, as a military man, we have this slogan in the Armored Corps: be the best you can be. So we are urging you to be the best you can be. In that ministry, we will support you, but also you have to support us by listening to us, talking to us first before you jump into maybe other things that will put you on the guillotine where they want to, like you say, you are ready to put your head to be cut. No, your head will not be cut. It will be intact for you to continue to do the good things you have in your head, because you need our support. We need your support. We assure you of our support 100%, not 99%, because loyalty is given 100%, not 99%. So if you are loyal to somebody, you are loyal to him 100%. We are loyal to our country, Nigeria, nothing more. We are ready to give our best to the country, nothing more. We are ready to always talk about peace and stability based on justice and fair play and equity. That's what we've always said. So I would like to thank all those who have turned up for this program. There's a very large turnout of traditional leaders. That got to show that the traditional institution is always ready to be proactive, to be progressive, not what people are saying. We are not what people think. The institution have the highest number of professionals in the world. There's no institution in this world that has the number of quality and good people like Traditional Institution of Nigeria. From generals who have served the country to custom controllers to Supreme Court judges, all sorts of professionals, so many of us. And we always give our consultancy free of charge to the government, because you can't pay us. The country is ours. Before Nigeria, our forefathers have been ruling the present day geopolitical zones where we are. Oni is here. You all know of the empire. You all know of Sokoto Caliphate, Kanem Borno, Oyo, Benin Kingdom, and so on and so forth. They have existed before Nigeria came into being. So we have more at stake because we care more about our people. Whatever you hear or say or you see us do, purely 100% are all for our people, nothing more. So if somebody is raising his voice against any government action that he feels are against his people, listen to him. He might have a reason, because he cares more about the people. We don't have anywhere to run to, but you politicians, you can run to Dubai, you can run to America. We have nowhere to go to. We must stay with our people. Go to our palaces and see. So I want to assure you, Honorable Minister, and also to the government of the Federal Republic and all the state governors, we are 100% loyal to Nigeria. We are ready to work at any time. And as religious leaders, we are always ready to preach what our holy books ordered us to, not what our hearts or our minds feel we should tell people. So we thank you very much. I wish us a very nice day. And at the end of this, whatever programs we are coming up with, we must try to see how we can implement them. As we welcome our other brothers and sisters from sister African countries, that so many of us have been working with in our military days. We're very happy to see you. My neighbor from Nigeria, so we welcome all of you, and please feel at home. And I want to thank Botsford Foundation, also the UN Women and the Ministry for Women Affairs. That very soon you hear Ministry for Men Affairs. And I will suggest who is going to be the first minister. The traditional ruler with the highest number of wives. The traditional ruler with the highest number of wives will be the Honorable Minister of Men Affairs very soon. So thank you very much. Ford Foundation, thank you very much. May God bless all of us. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I forgot to thank Eugenia. Many more years to continue serving our great country.
The Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, the President of Ford Foundation, our esteemed traditional rulers, blessings of the Sultan to the Honorable Minister also got me undercover, and I truly appreciate. His Eminence has said that traditional rulers are lifelong learners, and he has also said he has provided free consultancy to the government, and this is what traditional rulers do. Your Eminence, we thank you so very much for that forward-looking intervention that you made. Please, let's give him a round of applause. In Africa, harmful gender norms and religious misconceptions continue to be used to justify and fuel various forms of violence against women and girls. However, we all know that in Nigeria, traditional rulers and faith-based leaders have been instrumental in reversing some of the age-long negative practices against women and girls, championing community actions resulting in abolishing age-long cultural practices. We need to give a round of applause to all our esteemed traditional rulers in the room for the work that you're doing in our communities. Thank you so much. It's now time for us to invite to the podium an accomplished estate surveyor, a promoter of women's leadership, co-chair of the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria, His Imperial Majesty Oba Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi Ojaja III, OFR, the Oni of Ile-Ife. 3.
The Honorable Minister, our ever amiable, ever forward-looking, and very energetic Minister for Women Affairs, I greet you this morning, and I want to thank you for all your efforts that you've been making to give a lifeline and good support to the women folks of our dear country. I think she truly deserves a resounding round of applause. I greet the organizers, Ford Foundation and UN Women. I want to thank you for your advocacy and things you've been doing so far. My brother traditional rulers from all the parts of our country, I welcome you all. On a lighter note, I looked around this hall and I realized that we have actually violated the advocacy for gender-based violence. We have violated it indeed, because in this hall, I realize that we have more men and traditional rulers in this hall. We keep oppressing women all the time. We are talking about women issues. We should have more women in this hall than men. But it's due to no fault of majority of us here. Maybe we should blame the organizers. But in hindsight, I sat next to my brother. He's always oppressing me that he's my senior brother, he's older than me. I should do more of the errand work and all the challenging work. It's okay. He now said I shouldn't worry. He knows what to do. Well, I realized that he has some spiritual powers and he's trying to practicalize it today. He actually wanted at some point, when we started this program, to change the men in this hall to women. But the last time I checked, I'm still a man. So you better check yourself very well whenever you are seated. You cannot trust Sultan fully. It's full of different antics. The way he actually told the Honorable Minister for Women Affairs to talk first before us. So Your Eminence, your spiritual maneuvering, I have actually exposed it to everybody today. So be careful. Today, we are all gathered here to talk about one of the greatest societal ills, not only in Nigeria, but the entire humanity. The weaker vessel. We should always talk about the place to stand in the world. And truly, truly, the way it is with humanity is the same with animals. The forces of nature that created us has actually made women to be very sensitive, very tender, yet very strong-willed, and a very, very formidable driving force to whoever that we are today. One way or the other, we must have passed through women. Women give back to all of us. So we should give them the sense of place. But the organizers took it upon themselves to give that role to we traditional rulers. We want to thank you, and we will not let you down in our advocacy drive. The truth be told, every one of us in our various kingdoms, we do something called the palace court. We have it all the time. And issues like this usually come up. We are very lucky because we are the closest to our people. And it's very, very affordable to approach traditional rulers. If you want to go to court or you want to go to any non-governmental organization, you will write a letter, you will go through some process, they will tell you to get a lawyer, You will pay stamp duty, you will do all sorts. But for us, they will just walk in because our palaces are very opened. And we attend to all sorts of good, bad, and the ugly in the society. So for us, the advocacy resides with us. I think we are still underutilized. Like His Eminence said earlier on, we can talk the talk, but how well are we implementing all these things? How well? We're embedded in our culture, our tradition and religion. And everything has a very clear support for women. If you abuse women, several ways you can abuse. Not only physical, you abuse women verbally. Some people don't even know the emotional torture that actually happens to women when you abuse them in that perspective. Look at what our forebears were doing at some point. Genital mutilation. It's a very, very dehumanizing thing. But thank God Almighty, the advocacy is getting wider and is reaching the right places. For each and every one of us, anytime we have the issue of gender-based violence, naturally, men are very ashamed. It's something they cover the same way they cover their body. They can't even stand tall in anywhere in the world or in any society to talk about it. So, it's very important that the world actually gives us sensitivity to the female. But how well are we making sure that truly, truly, it is not double standard we are doing? We traditional rulers, we have a very, very important role to play. And I think we still need to do more. Very important to give women a place to stand. It's very important for us to give them how they can be beneficial to the society, irrespective of religion. Maybe some cultural and religious beliefs usually confine women, but there are several other ways that you can give women a sense of place. And there are several other means you can actually make sure that they are part of the society and they have things they can contribute one way or the other. On this note, I want to appeal to the organizers that there are several things that you can do beyond us gathering here. There are several other things you can do in terms of the practicability aspect of gender-based violence. Look at what the First Lady of our dear country, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, is doing, trying to put together alternative schools for women. It's a very laudable initiative. It's a very fantastic initiative, trying to set it up all over the country, that some women that are very deprived at a very tender age, from the age of like say 12, 13, all the way to 16 and 18, maybe early pregnancy, early childbirth, and they didn't even have any sense of place again. But after that childbearing, they can actually think of their life and pick it up again and start to go back to alternative schools. I want to implore the organizers, you can do some very petty things in terms of partnership, what you just mentioned earlier on, in terms of partnership with the Ministry of Women Affairs, the same way a whole lot of organizations are doing it. Try and reach out to us the more. Try and make sure that we want to actually back up what we debate and deliberate about in a very practical terms. Come to our various kingdoms, take out this deliberation beyond Abuja on an annual basis, the way you talk about it. Let's go to practical communities where we have issues other than sitting down and be in Transcorp Hilton or be in a very cozy environment. Let's take it to where it's needed properly and actually make sure that we practice what we preach. On this note, I want to thank all the traditional rulers that are here and the religious leaders that are here and so many advocacy groups that are here. That God bless you. Continue to give credence to women. Continue to support gender-based violence in a very positive manner. Continue to do your way and means in everything you do in life. God bless you, and God bless all the works of your hand. And God bless our dear country, Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi Ojaja II, CFR, the Oni of Ile-Ife. It is so easy to see only the physical, but His Imperial Majesty has drawn attention to a very special gender-based violence, which is emotional abuse. And as the Honorable Minister has said, many women have walked up to her, except you have not seen a woman who is totally broken down because her integrity has been completely eroded by the man whom she's married to. Those areas of field are the areas of field that His Imperial Majesty has touched, and is an area that we must look very closely at. His Imperial Majesty, the Oni of Ife. A round of applause for him again. Thank you, sir. And it's time now for us to invite to the podium the very respected President of the Christian Association of Nigeria, the Most Reverend Daniel C. Oko, for his intervention.
Our dear sister, Dr. Uju Kennedy Ohanenye, Your Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, very senior brother and friend, Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar, CFR MNI, Your Imperial Majesty, the Oni of Ife, Your Eminences, Imperial Majesties, and Your Highnesses, I thank you all for this particular opportunity to stand in your midst. Ms. Beatrice Enyong, the United Nations Women Representative to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Darren Walker, the President, Ford Foundation, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I bring you greetings from the National Secretariat of the Christian Association of Nigeria, and would like to extend my heartfelt goodwill to all the participants gathered here today for this high-level dialogue on gender-based violence. I want to commend the organizers for extending an invitation and for recognizing the importance of religious leaders in combating gender-based violence in a society like ours. The UN Women has been at the forefront of eliminating all forms of violence against women, and the result so far is encouraging. I want to believe that at the end of this high-level consultation, there will be a more coordinated synergy between development partners like the Ford Foundation and the religious traditional institutions to combat this menace effectively. It has been said that in the history of nations, the key role of women in the society has been to provide the basic necessities of life and ensure stability, progress, and long-term development. They are caregivers, educators, advocates, mobilizers, counselors, and they constitute the majority of rural farmers in Africa, providing food for nations. Yet, they suffer all forms of gender-based violence, and most times they are not able to find help. Generally, women are perceived as those who always look out for what is good, access it, and make it available to all around them. In African communities, they are trailblazers. According to the United Nations, the most common acts of violence against women in Nigeria include sexual harassment, physical violence, harmful traditional practices, emotional and psychological violence, socioeconomic violence, and violence against non-combatant women in conflict situations. Reports from the United Nations state that 1 in 3 women has faced physical violence and 1 in 10 women has experienced sexual violence since the age of 15. These acts of violence deny the dignity of persons, and we must all be involved to protect and maintain the dignity of women. In the fight against GVB in our society and our world, we must be sincere and give it all the time, energy, and resources that are required. We must be very sincere in our conversations, and we must be committed to carrying whatever decisions we take today in this gathering forward. And like other former speakers have said, to bring them down to the grassroots level and make sure that the impact of our conversations at this highest level are felt at the very common level of the society. Gender-based violence is a pervasive issue that has far-reaching consequences for individuals, families, and communities. It is a violation of basic human rights and a barrier to achieving sustainable development and social cohesion. As religious leaders, we must give moral leadership in speaking out against all forms of violence and injustice, including gender-based violence, and to work towards creating a more just and equitable society for all to live and flourish in without fear of discrimination or intimidation. And therefore, as the president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, I want to assure you all, dear brothers and sisters, that we are deeply committed to ensuring safe spaces for women and protecting women's rights and dignity. I commend the organizers of this dialogue for bringing together stakeholders from across sectors to discuss strategies for preventing and responding to gender-based violence in Nigeria. By working together, we can create a safer and more inclusive society where everyone has the right to live free from violence and fear. I urge all participants to engage in constructive dialogue, share best practices, and commit to taking concrete actions to address gender-based violence in our communities. Let us stand in solidarity with survivors, advocate for their rights, and work towards ending the cycle of violence for future generations. Together, we can make a difference and create a more just, peaceful, and gender equal society for all. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to this important cause, and may God bless our efforts and guide us towards a future free from violence and discrimination. I thank you for your attention.
Of Christian Association of Nigeria, the Most Reverend Daniel Oko. Shall we give a round of applause, please? In the next few minutes, we'll be done with this. This is not just about Nigeria, but West Africa. We'll be taking, in a few minutes, representatives of delegations from Niger Republic, Liberia, Ghana, and Sierra Leone. And we have just been told that for our French-speaking delegates or participants, we have interpreters on your desk. You can put them on to follow through. Thank you very much. Beginning with Niger Republic, join me as invite His Royal Highness Muhammad Mansour Tawase of Kane, Sultan of Sawase, Niger Republic, and Regional Coordinator, West African Francophone Council of Traditional Rulers of Africa, for a goodwill message.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I'm a French speaker, so I wish most of you have their earphone. Even though I'm part of Nigeria, not only because I'm neighbor from Daura, but also because I'm a former student of Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife. I hear the minister saying that, I hear the ONI asking for a meeting in your different communities. I hope a meeting at Ile-Ife, because I would like to go back to visit my university and to go back to visit Angola Hall, where I started as a student. Donc, mesdames et messieurs, nous sommes honorés. Nous sommes très honorés de l'invitation qui a été faite au Niger pour prendre part à cette session d'échange entre les communautés traditionnelles et religieuses et les partenaires qui sont la société civile et autres sur les questions des pratiques néfastes qui se font dans nos différentes communautés. Au Niger, nous avons eu la chance en 2018, d'avoir été invité à Lagos avec l'aide de Béatrice, qui était en ce moment la représentante au Niger. Et c'était en cette année-là que nous avons appris, moi et le chef traditionnel qui m'accompagnait, que le Niger était premier en termes de mariage d'enfants. D'abord, on n'était pas d'accord, parce que c'était la première fois que nous avons eu cette information. Et c'était à ce moment-là que je m'étais engagé dans Kotla. Mais je ne m'étais pas engagé seulement dans Kotla. À notre retour chez nous, nous avons décidé plus de prêcher par l'action que par la parole. Et ainsi, avec la formation de ONU Femmes et le soutien financier de l'UNFPA, nous avons mis en œuvre certaines initiatives dont nous sommes aujourd'hui très fiers, dont tout le Niger est très fier. Nous avons eu la chance au Niger que tous les chefs traditionnels ont des initiatives dans leur localité. Mais je vous parlerai de ce que nous faisons dans le royaume de Tessawa particulièrement. La réunion de Lagos était en 2018. Au retour au Niger, sur financement justement de l'INFP, comme je vous avais dit, nous avons mis en place 200 comités de protection de la fille rurale. Ces 200 comités de protection de la fille rurale étaient chargés de me rapporter en temps réel et de lutter contre toutes les pratiques qui étaient néfastes à la jeune fille dans nos communautés. Nous avons mis en place une initiative qui permettait, en 2018-2019, toutes les filles déscolarisées suite aux échecs aux examens du bac et du BPC, de revenir sur les bancs de l'école, toutes les filles sans exception. Cette première année, nous avons eu 113 filles. 2000, ça c'était, je disais, en 2000. Donc en 2019-2020, nous avons eu 163 filles qui étaient candidates au retour à l'école. De 2018, où on nous avait appris qu'on avait 76%, une prévalence de 76% de mariage d'enfants, en 2020, après une enquête de l'UNFPA, le royaume de Tessa était à 0 mariage d'enfants déclarés en 2020. Alors, des efforts sont possibles. Tout est une question d'engagement et de solidarité. Nous ne nous sommes pas arrêtés qu'à ces deux-là. Nous avions beaucoup de sollicitations des femmes, soit pour acheter des produits médicaux, soit pour prendre en charge leurs évacuations sanitaires, soit pour leur transfusion sanguine. Nous avons appelé tous nos chefs de village, de tribus et de quartiers. J'avais ordonné à chacun d'entre eux d'aller dans leur communauté, demander à chaque famille de donner une contribution libre et volontaire d'une mesure de 1000. Le 1000, c'est notre moyen à nous. Avant, on ne l'utilisait que pour manger seulement. Mais cette fois-ci, nous avons décidé de l'utiliser pour mobiliser nos propres ressources locales. Nous avons mobilisé pour 4 millions de 1000. Un partenaire nous a donné une contribution de 8 millions. Ça fait 12 millions. En ça, nous avons éradiqué la mendicité des femmes surtout et des filles pour les évacuations sanitaires. Même si une femme devait être évacuée à 1000 km du royaume de Tessa, nous donnons le carburant aller-retour. Plus de mendicité pour les poches de sang. Nous avons géré ça et nous continuons à le gérer jusqu'à ce jour. Rien que en mars de cette année, nous avons doté 160 filles, 80 de moulins à grains ou à farine, 80 autres de sacs de soja pour la fabrication d'un mets très prisé dans nos communautés, de l'huile. Nous les avons donné 3 petits ruminants et des ustensiles de cuisine pour que ces jeunes filles se prennent en charge et pratiquent des activités génératrices de revenus, pour qu'elles soient protégées de la mendicité auprès des hommes qui généralement les mènent à la turpitude. Le changement est possible. Et ce n'est pas pour rien que nous nous voulons comme défenseurs de cause de la femme rurale, parce que c'est celle-là que nous représentons partout où nous nous rendons. Et c'est sous nos épaules que celle-là vient pleurer lorsque les défis de la vie nous semblent insurmontables. Et nous allons continuer dans ce sens, nous allons continuer à combattre dans ce sens, parce que nous avons des partenaires qui nous combattent, qui nous aident, qui nous accompagnent, qui nous financent, qui nous supportent, qui nous forment. Et nous sommes convaincus qu'ensemble, la main dans la main, nous allons pouvoir réduire, je dirais même améliorer les conditions de vie de la femme dans nos communautés. Dans ce cadre, et dans le cadre de la lutte contre les violences faites aux femmes au Niger, la prévalence globale est passée de 60% en 2015 à 29% en 2021. Quant au mariage précoce, la prévalence était de 16% en 2012. Elle est passée à 65% en 2021, selon une enquête de UNAFEM. Comme vous pouvez le constater, des progrès sont en train d'être faits au Niger, qui était premier pays en termes de mariage d'enfants. Nous avons la chance nous avons la chance d'être accompagnés. Il suffit seulement que nous demandons, que nous disons aux Nations Unies ce que nous voulons et aussitôt ils nous le présentent tel que nous le voulons. Tous les chefs du Niger sont financés et accompagnés et Inch'Allah, nous allons pouvoir améliorer les conditions de la femme qui est de 50,3% plus nombreuse que les hommes et 51% plus nombreuse que les hommes dans le royaume de Tissawa. Mesdames et messieurs, merci beaucoup pour votre attention et nous espérons beaucoup qu'ensemble, nous allons pouvoir combattre les pratiques néfastes dans nos communautés. Je vous remercie.
Thank you so much. That was the Sultan of Tessawe.
And you will be able to hear them through the speakers. Sincere apologies.
Shall we please give Eugenia a round of applause? I thought she said her French is little, but from my corner, she spoke advanced French. Shall we give her a round of applause? Next, briefly, join me as invite Obapa Andoa Anka, Nana Hena Awindo, Development Queen Mother of Afigia Kwabre Ashanti Kingdom, Ghana. Shall we give another applause? That's the delegation from Ghana.
Last week in Ghana, where we had the religious and traditional leaders consultation, I was told that in Nigeria, when you want to stand on the existing protocols, you have to check your weight. I think I'm light enough to stand on the existing protocols. But allow me to express my gratitude to His Eminence, Alhaji Dr. Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, CFR, the Sultan of Sokoto and President General, Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, for agreeing to host this high-level gathering in Nigeria. Thank you to His Imperial Majesty Oba Adeyeye Enitan Ogunsi Ojaja III, CFR, Ooni of Ile-Ife. We appreciate the Most Reverend Daniel C. Oko, President, Christian Association of Ghana. Of Nigeria. Oh, wow, I want to take you away. I bring you amazing greetings from our gender-passionate king, King Osei Tutu II, the king of Ashanti Kingdom in Ghana. I'm here with Alhaji Muhammad Amil Bako Ado, the Executive Secretary of Ghana Conference of Religions for Peace. Thank you very much, Honorable Mrs. Oju Kennedy Ohaniye, for your eloquent and passionate speech. Minister for Women Affairs, thank you also for hosting this annual meeting. Please, we extend our heartfelt congratulations to the First Lady for the successful hosting and flag off of the We Are Equal, for the Organization of African First Ladies for Development, OAFLAD, that was done quite recently, a continental organization established to leverage the unique position and influence of African First Ladies to advocate for the implementation programs that address the health and socioeconomic challenges facing African continent. I remember years ago we hosted a similar one in Ghana, and I was privileged to be part of the group who organized it, and we had First Ladies coming together to support the development of the vulnerable. That is a huge step in the right direction for our governments to give their support to our advocacy efforts. Thank you. Excellency Ms. Beatrice Enyon, UN Women Representative to Nigeria and ECOWAS, my sister, thank you very much for your hard work and for the invitation. Our sincere appreciation to your leadership and guidance championing this cause. We wish to express our gratitude to the UN Women team, those who came to Ghana and those who are supporting you to put this together. A special mention to Madame Efua Ansre, Senior Gender Specialist at UN Women Office in Ghana, for coordinating our visit. We want to say thank you to Ford Foundation for this amazing support. We cannot do this without you. Thank you so much. And other partners for their unwavering support and for hosting this all-important event that seeks to address policy and social change, social norm change in Nigeria and West Africa, the LEAP, and for inviting us to participate in this event. Excellencies, Your Royal High Justice, I know you know that name, right? Royal Majesty, Royal Highnesses, together is Your Royal High Justice. So we don't have to say that. It's a very simple way of putting it together. So, Your Excellencies, Your Royal High Justice, I need your permission to just make a few remarks. I bring you warm greetings. Okay. We sit. Sorry. Sorry. As custodians of tradition and guardians of faith, our collective voice holds immense power to effect positive change, and it is not out of place that we are all called upon to grease the wheels on which traditional and cultural leaders for ending GBV by advancing advocacy, policy, and social norms change in Nigeria and West Africa. Together, we have a lot to offer. With our unparalleled community representation, deep cultural preservation, mediation and conflict resolution abilities, our advocacy for development strategies, promotion of social cohesion, and conscious environmental, traditional, and faith leaders in advocacy. We act as catalysts to positive change, leveraging our positions, respect, and influence to advocate for well-being and advancement of our community. We surely have a lot to cover. We have a lot to do in our communities because when you're in the field and you hear that children use the back of plantain stalk, they pound it, make into pulp, dry it, and use it as sanitary pads. That is the only time you realize that there's a lot to be done in the community. There's a lot to share. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to experience before your passion can come to play. We have a lot to do as traditional and religious leaders. We are the ones in the communities. We are faced with realities firsthand, and we know what our people go through. So it's exciting when partners like Ford Foundation and UN Women come together or bring us together to discuss and chart a path that we all can walk on to see that our future generation is in place. As we gather here, I encourage us to promote collaboration, strengthen partnership, and leverage on our collective wisdom and community participation to advocate and accelerate progress towards ending violence against women and girls, and contribute to a regional accountability framework which will help to monitor the progress of traditional and faith leaders in eliminating violence against women and girls, harmful cultural practices, and also to promote sexual and reproductive health rights in Africa. In Ghana, we are working together with faith leaders to do a lot of work in the field. Last year, towards the end of December, we had 3 provinces committing to ending child marriage, not only committing to it, committing from their seat throughout their communities, committing to seeing that no girl in their communities get married before time. So, Honorable Minister, I'm very excited about the 100 girls. It's very similar to what we are doing in Ghana, and I know that together we will be able to achieve so much. I would like to acknowledge the members of the Council of Traditional Leaders in Africa, COTLA, the clergies, the partners, and officials who have joined us for this high-level meeting. Thank you all so very much, and I want to add my voice to pay tribute to my royal father from Nigeria, King Aderemi Adedapo, who has gone to be with his ancestors. Lastly, I want to specially thank you for your dedication and commitment to the well-being of our people. You have individually been doing a lot of work, and it's just to bring it collectively so that our impact is greater. We thank you for all the work you do that are bringing inclusive, resilience, and prosperous Africa to bear. With unity and purpose, we have to work. I thank you for your kind attention. Yours truly, Obapa Ajoancha, Nanahima Awindo. I am the development queen mother of Efija Kwabre in Ashanti Kingdom, founding member of COTLA, and the president now of ACLIN, African Queens and Women Cultural Leaders Network. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And all
protocols. I bring you greetings from the traditional and religious leaders of Liberia. We want to appreciate the work in addressing violence against women and girls and transforming traditional and social norms. Liberia has worked on this issue over the years. What is unique is that Liberia and Nigeria work together in organizing Council of Traditional Leaders in Africa. We hope that our stay here be fruitful for the benefit of us all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Shall we give a round of applause? That was Sierra Leone. May we invite Rabbi Tamba Eric Mbayo. Good morning. His Eminence, traditional leaders, religious leaders, I greet you all in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. I am from Sierra Leone, and I'm here with three other people representing the nation of Sierra Leone. We are privileged to be here, and we're happy to be part of the UN family, especially the women's wing. The UN women working in Sierra Leone have made tremendous strides in advancement of the rights of women. In Sierra Leone went through 11 years of civil war, and over 50% of those affected, that is about 50 to 60,000 people, were women and girls. And so because of that, successive governments have put in place a Ministry for Gender Affairs. They have passed a bill in Parliament that empowers women, and women have been given 30% rights, both in public and private sectors. We also have now in place the Inheritance Act. Before then, women were not allowed to inherit properties or estates or lands. And so our government has put in place laws to empower women in that direction. So as a nation, as a people, we are happy to be part of UN Women in fighting this menace of SGV, GBV, and other forms of violence against women. Today, to see a galaxy of our esteemed traditional leaders gathered in one place and religious leaders speaks volumes of our heart in Africa to see this nation a better place for all of us. Once more, we are privileged to be here, me and my team, and we thank you for hosting us. Thank you, and God bless you.
Ministry of Gender Affairs, especially because Sierra Leone went through a war, and women and children, as we all know during wars, are the ones who suffer the most. And there is now an Inheritance Act. I'd like us to put our hands together for Sierra Leone for the strides that they are making. We thank you so very much, Rabbi Tamba Eric Mbayo from Sierra Leone, and we acknowledge your presence, and we thank you for coming to join us. The president of Ford Foundation, who has been patient through this activities that we have been carrying through, not only just by providing the funding for all of these activities, but also by soaking in all the comments and the commendations for our traditional rulers and the excellent work the Ministry of Women Affairs is doing under the leadership of the Honorable Minister. We thank you all for your kindness, and of course, the UN Women head for Nigeria and West Africa, who has given us the template for how we go forward on this matter since they are organizing. We thank you. We've had a lot of talking heads. It's time for us to lighten up a little bit and have something that gives us food for thought while it is entertaining. I'd like to introduce straight away the drama skit, I Open Eye. And it is the performance which you're about to watch is an excerpt from the internationally acclaimed play titled Hear Word, produced by I Open Eye Africa Foundation. Since 2014, I Open Eye has produced powerful stage plays, offered skills building workshops, and facilitated open dialogue events aimed at breaking the culture of silence, challenging gender violence, and addressing barriers which limit the independence, safety, and value of women. Hereward has been viewed by more than 125,000 live audience members in universities and cities across Africa, Europe, and the United States. Today's performance is by Zara Omono, Oluchi, and Emeka. Enjoy.